Hey, everybody. Welcome to the session. We have a good one for you, and I appreciate you guys sticking around. Well, not even sticking around, but I appreciate you guys clicking on the play button to hear this episode because I have a feeling, even though it's only me in the studio and Sully in the virtual studio, I feel like it's going to be a reckless show because we have a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of drinking to do. We are on the phone with Josh from Setting Sun Sake Brewing Company out of sunny San Diego. It's a lot of S's in one sentence, but that's okay. I have a filter for it. I'll just do it in post and fix all of my sibilant S's. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing superlative.
Nice. Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. We were talking just a couple seconds ago about how much sake you sent, and you were very generous, man. I really appreciate it. And as I'm unpacking the box the other day, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be one of the greatest shows of all time, or it's going to to be a mess.
Yeah. Well, you're either going to love me or hate me.
Yeah, exactly. And this is it's going to be a good show, man, because I know enough about sake to be dangerous with my dumb questions.
I love it.
And that's it, right? And so I'm very curious, just from a home brewer level, on making sake at home and the ingredients to do it right and all that kind of fun stuff. But I also want to talk about culturally what sake means to you and why you're bringing it to San Diego and what you're trying to do with your ingredients. And then also, you have session sake is what you're calling it. Sake cans. And I sort of just want to open one now because, we've had a hell of a time trying to set up the audio, but I'm trying to wait on it. But maybe I should just open a can.
Dude, crack that tasty can.
Which one is it? Which one should I do? I mean,
start with the Arizona Bay. So I'm actually drinking our Ronin Genshu. It's something you only get in the tasting room, and it's the straight dope. It's the pure uncut sake, and it kicks it around 18.5%. And I like it. So I'm going to just drink this through the whole thing, but I'm familiar enough with the product that I could talk you through everything.
Well, you know what?
Missing a beat.
Yeah, that's fine. I appreciate it. And that's the kind of vibe that I get from you just already. You're going with the flow, literally, right now, because you're drinking sake. You know enough to just be like, well, I don't care what happens. We're gonna get information out and we're gonna hang out.
You know enough to be dangerous, and I'm confident enough to be dangerous, and together we're gonna get something done.
Yeah. Well, how did you get into sake, man? Let's just jump right in.
Yeah, that goes. I'm gonna start a little further back than getting into sake. I in my 20s, I did neon sign repair, and that had me traveling all over the United States. And the funny thing about casinos, we contracted casinos for the neon sign repair. And the funny thing about casinos is they put them in really terrible spots of America, just like wherever you wouldn't want to be, they can put a casino there apparently. And I went to them. And I like that job because it was a lot of problem solving, a lot of, like travel. It was very compelling. But as I grew more confident and competent in that business, I really stopped enjoying being at work because I had found craft beer. A lot of casinos in Northern California. So I'd be up in Geyserville or in Eureka, and I'd be hitting up a lot of breweries up there. And so I really kind of stopped enjoying being at work, and I wanted to be at a brewery more often. So I started reading homebrew books and home brewing and listening to the session and Dr. Homebrew and all the
oh damn, dude. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you.
It was trying to impress you, but now now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you could just.
He's been stroking both of us the whole time. Yeah. It's been amazing.
Take your pants off. It's good.
He's a good marketer, man.
I just wanted to be in a brewery all the time. I thought this would be something I could be good at and would want to do all the time. Also, they were okay with me being drunk at work. So I got a job working for a black market in Temecula. Okay. And so I was the cellar rat, and being a small brewery of like 3 or 4 people, cellar rat is not exactly the term. It's like CFO / delivery guy / construction worker. It's everything. And I loved it.
Okay. So, okay, you liked doing that. Let me just pause on that. You enjoyed just being the jack of all trades kind of a guy?
Yeah, I like a challenge. I like to learn. I like to grow, and I like to see how much I could do. Right. And so,
okay.
Was it one of those things where you kind of like went in for one job and they were like, hey, this guy can do it all? And that's, you know, so you just started gravitating to, can you do the accounting books?
No, I really can't. But still don't. No, it was one of those things where I was more disillusioned, and I thought it would be really, really cool to be a brewer. And I was willing to do whatever
it is, took. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was willing to do whatever it took to get that job, to be that thing, to do that thing. And the more I enjoyed it, the more I liked doing it, the more I really liked the idea of not having a boss at all. And I thought the only way to do that was to, if you want to be a captain, buy a boat. And so while at Black Market, yeah, right. Here we are. Look at us. Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to do that, and my thought was, as a lifelong lover of learning, but not a person who went through academia, I would just do every job. And so I just started getting jobs while working at a brewery. I'd work at another brewery. I'd volunteer at places, and I also took a vow of poverty. So that's what allowed me to get to here. Okay. But in my pursuit, I got to work for some of the largest breweries in the world. I worked for Stone. I worked for Polaner Hawker Shore. I got to see beer at many different levels and do different things with beer. And in that time, while pursuing becoming the best brewer myself, beating up Evan Price for Recipe Secrets, or Devin Randall, or anyone else I can get my hands on that knows what beer is, and go, how do I make this better? I fell in love with sake. And then it got crystallized while at Fuller's, experiencing Fuller's London Pride in all of its glory and beauty for what it should be appreciated for, but just can't be because it's shipped to America, and there's just inlaid problems and costs in that. And so I thought, because I got addicted to that aha moment of sharing what I love about beer, I thought if I could share that aha moment with sake, I would get like a bigger, deeper high.
Okay. Well, do you remember like that moment though? You were you having sake somewhere? Of course you were. And it was like, I fucking want to do this, man.
Yeah. Like, well, at what point, even more to the point, at what point do you realize that sake shouldn't be hot?
Early.
Yeah, okay. Because it took me a long time of like, well, sake is really only just like an extra, load of powder in the bullet, right? in the gun to like just get you drop it in that Asahi,
it can
or whatever,
be,
and then there you go.
It can be. It very much can be. So check this out.
Right?
I came to sake the same way that you came to sake. I came to beer very similarly to how you came to beer. I tried mass market stuff. Somebody said, hey, try this, it's better. I said, hey, this is actually considerably better. I then lost my mind and opened a sake brewery. But you find sake the same way. You have to get past the macro stuff. And there's a kind of an unfair truth that we won't really want to talk about, is that most sushi restaurants aren't owned and operated by Japanese people sharing the best part of Japan. Mm-hmm. They're owning strip mall stuff that's designed to take money from white people, and it's cool. It works.
My favorite sushi place that I've been to is out in Pleasant Hill. It's called Joe's Honda, run by a Korean family. So they push soju all the time. Let's go soju. No sake, soju.
Which it makes more sense for them.
It really does, yeah, because that's just culture, what they're into. But it's sort of like when you go to a sushi place, you expect to have sake, and it's like, well, I mean, they have like the big like bombers of. I guess the sake is good. So, they have nigiri and stuff, but it's like, or nigori. Nigori, thank you. They
nigiri,
have nigiri too.
Nigiri, you don't want to have nigiri. It's the fish, exactly.
So anyway, check this out. The whole entire thing is that. Silly, you were asking about a lot of the sake is imported, and it's not exactly true. If you go to Bevmo or Total Wine or whatever representative big box shop you've got in your place, you'll see a lot of Japanese labels in kanji with little English on it. And then you'll see it was made in Folsom, in Berkeley, in Los Angeles. And they have a brand and a product that works very well for the market, but it's not what they would call sake if you were to ask them about Japanese sake. And it's not to say that I'm not trying to denigrate. It's just like, I also drink Coors Light sometimes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I also drink Gekikon. I mean, my buddy Yosuke makes some great stuff there. And I think that it's exactly what it is. It's the same thing I feel about Coors Light. It's exactly what it is.
Is sake for you just to be always in, like, what am I trying to say? Like a whiskey, right? I feel like you don't really go to a bar and go, let me get some like Powers or whatever. Like if you want to drink whiskey, you're going to go drink like a nicer whiskey. Is sake the same, or is it just like you said, like it could be a Coors Light sake, or it could be a Celebration Ale sake, or a 21st Amendment sake?
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we got to keep him happy to keep him here.
Come on,
right?
I'm the sponsor. I'm the sponsor too. It's like
cool.
a placement.
Yeah.
Hey, you serve food at your establishments, right? You could serve sake. Let's get some sake into your gluten free.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Let's do it. I'm trying to make a sale.
I'm down
right
with it.
now.
Let's
okay,
do
so
it.
there's a lot to unpack when you talk about the qualitative or quantitative purposes or uses of sake. When we talk about sake in mass, there's grades of sake that some people like to discuss being futsushu, ginjo grade, and daiginjo grade. And what those are referencing is the polishing of the rice. Okay. And in referencing the polishing of the rice, that is a very simplistic way of describing quality. It's not to say that futsushus are not good, right? But it's by and large that they're made en masse to be table sake or to be consumed as not a celebratory kind of beverage, right? You're just trying to get drunk. But that's not to say that futsushus can't be beautiful and great. Ginjo grade and daiginjo grade is the premium level milling, and everything that Setting Sun Sake does as to date is ginjo grade, which means that we have a semi-buai, a polishing rate of 40% removed and 60% remaining. When I discuss futsushu, I'm discussing 70% remaining, 30% removed. And what we're removing is the bran, chaff, and endosperm of the kernel of rice, in addition to proteins and lipids. Those proteins and lipids can tend to produce off flavors either during brewing or later in causing it to be unstable in on shelf storage. So by removing
how are you removing the endosperm? Isn't the endosperm right in the middle there, or?
So it's kind of off to the side.
Okay.
I have a talented assistant bringing some polished rice over. This is not going to look well because of the camera, but
that's all right.
The way the rice is positioned is if you were to look at it like a football, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of like a wheat germ or a you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They tumble it and it becomes spherical. In that tumbling, the endosperm is actually located more to one side of the rice kernel than the other, and it gets polished away by virtue of that. And it takes about 12 hours to produce a ton of ginjo grade rice and about 18 hours to produce a ton of daiginjo grade rice. Daiginjo is 50% removed, 50% remaining, or up. Those crazy savages go up to like 9% remaining, and that's just a hard flex.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is just a mechanical process, just like a tumbler or something. And
yeah, it's these giant stone wheels that fit together like this, and they spin. And as the rice becomes the right size, it drops through. Though it has to be polished so as not to overheat, because that'll cause it to crack and shear and become broken and no longer good for the koji brewing process. So there's a lot of effort that goes into the rice, and I work closely with Sun Valley Farms up in the Central Valley of California. They grow Calrose rice, which is a varietal of rice that was designed to grow here in California. It's a premium rice grown here in California. And I'm looking as Matt from McKellar's walking in to cause trouble. We're not open today. So it's a premium grade rice. It's exported all over the world, but it's kind of by virtue that Florida oranges are popular while Valencia oranges are delicious here in California. Like we talk about other types of rice. Calrose rice is a beautiful rice. It's just not a sake identified rice. So in that, I don't claim to make Japanese Nihonshu. I brew American sake or Californian sake. But yeah, I hope I answered that question.
So with Jingo, is it Dai Jingo and Jingo?
Ginjo, G-I-N.
Jingo.
Yeah.
I should know that. I've read it enough on a menu.
It's okay.
But is it also, so you're saying it's just not the polishing process, but it's qualitatively better as the way it's handled and moved through the process and other ingredients that are used, or is it just based solely on the rice?
You could say that, but I mean, I think you understand from industrial food processing and processing grain, it's like they all kind of get this is their special batch, thrown in 50-pound sacks, thrown on a pallet, thrown in a truck. You know, it is what it is.
but the way they handle it, you know, when they're actually making it, when they're moving it through the system of the sake, is it like
through the mills? There's actually only 2 mills in California right now operating because one of them closed because of COVID, but they're opening the third one back up in June. It means more rice is coming my way. But through that process, they're handling it special because they're having to handle it more. It requires a lot more laborious processing to get it to there. All rice is brown rice, one love, you know, and then it's through removing those outside parts that gets it to that white part, or what's called the shimpaku, the pure heart of the rice.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, me too, man. I love the Japanese language. I think it's a beautiful language, but I could never, like, I don't understand. It sounds.
I want to speak clearly. I do not read or speak Japanese. I do my best to sound as much like the person who can, so that I do my best job. But I lean hard on my friends who do all the translation.
Yeah. It's such a good language. And if I could learn one language, it would be that, because it just sounds so beautiful.
If there's a trick that nobody's told me I'm wrong yet, I'm sure I'll have people tell me I'm wrong, but it's hit every phoneme. Like if it seems like a phonetic hit, just hit it hard.
Just do it. Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about the sake brewing process, because you are a brewery, right? You brew sake.
It's a great question, and I'm going to turn it around, and it's my turn to interview you, handsome gentleman.
Oh, boy. Josh, it's not how this works, dude.
Oh, well.
Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
okay. It's okay to fight it. I like it a little rough. Let's do this. Right. What is sake? If you guys had to answer, if you had to explain to the audience, what is sake?
I would say it's a wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rice wine.
Sully, don't count don't hedge your bets. Answer. Let's get in there.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a rice wine. I mean, I think it's first of all, it's an alcoholic beverage. I think it's derived as carbohydrates from the rice.
Not on Jeopardy, dude.
No, hang on. Let me work through this. And I think you're using, from what I understand, an enzyme to break down the starch into a fermentable sugar. And then you add water. And then you add water. And then you put it in a machine and you serve it to me, and then it's done.
Yes.
In
the machine. They just put it in the machine.
Put it in the machine. And you have, you have fermentation. It's probably, classic fermentation process. I imagine you're producing alcohol and CO2 as part of it. I imagine, maybe not.
So this
should probably know this.
It's okay. This is a great.
Why are you doing this to me? I'm a magnet.
Don't you know who I am? So I like to think about sake as a wine as well, as the way that you would contextualize through a bureaucratic process, a barley wine, a malt wine, a strong alcoholic beverage derived from a product, right? So a barley wine, wheat wine, rye wine, rice wine, it's a fermented beverage, right? It's by virtue of it not having hops, it can't be called beer. Trust me, I've argued ad nauseum with people smarter than me. Paul Sangster. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
But so I'm sorry, Paul Segura. Paul Sangster too, but also Paul Segura. So many Pauls. It's
too many, really.
It's Paul.
It's Paul. So by virtue of it not having hops, it's not beer, but it would fall into like a Sati or a Groot types category, because we ultimately still have to brew it because it's derived from a grain. So I consider it beer.
Okay, because I think of beer as part of the beer making process is you have to boil it. That's right. I guess for me that's the one dumb argument between wine and beer. Well, beer you have to boil and cool and all kinds of. Do you have to do that in sake?
So there's one extra level to this, and you've already alluded to it with the enzyme, is that what segregates sake from beer, wine, cider, and mead is that it's a complex fermentation, whereas all those previously listed, beer, cider, wine, mead, those are all simple fermentations, not in that they're easy to do, but they're linear. The beginning of the original gravity and final gravity is derived by your yeast performance, and then there you have your alcohol from your substrate. In sake brewing, it's multiple parallel fermentation where two biological agents are engaging in a fermentation or a metabolic process separately that ends up being sake. So I have koji, which is my koji rice, and I inoculate it with the koji spore. And that's a dry process that happens exogenously of the brewing. So before we add the water.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're talking to the Brewing Network. We don't know words like that. So thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Here, can I let's bring it down. I'm talking to homebrewers though, so those guys are dorks. They can understand me. I feel like I'm talking to my people. So let me just let me run.
Not you, yes, sort of.
Your people, yeah.
Okay, well,
where are the hops added?
You have crowd.
See that bin out back that smells like garbage? That's all the hops they add. So in beer brewing, you have four ingredients. You have malt, water, hops, and yeast. And you make what's ostensibly the world's coolest hot cereal. And then you drain off that liquid and ferment that, and that becomes beer. And like, let's say it takes about 8 hours to batch a beer, and let's say about 2 weeks grain to glass. Let's say we're doing something quick. Sake is 2 weeks of brewing with around 10 weeks of grain to glass. That's my process, and anyone who's doing better than me, great. That's just what I'm doing. Works for me. So the 2 weeks of brewing is because we follow the Sandegnon brewing method, the multiple stage brewing method, which it's
like the Charlie Papazian brewing method.
Yeah, it's the right. It's called the right way. In that we're adding volumetric additions of all the ingredients. Okay. Now, of all the four ingredients in sake, we've got water, which is the substrate. We've got the rice, which is the carbohydrate. We've got koji, which is Aspergillus oryzae is the Latin name or scientific name for koji, which is the Japanese name for rice mold, which is like just the plain name. It sounds more romantic to call it koji, so I'm going to do that.
Then rice mold.
Then rice mold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't put that on the label.
No. But if you were to go to BSI and order fungal amylase D, you're getting a liquefied form of koji. So it's used in your process. It's used for haze boys and whatnot. But it's
really?
Part of my part of my process too.
The people use it for like hazy beer?
If they're cool.
I don't know anybody who's making a hazy beer that's cool, but you know.
Wah.
Yeah. Cool. So the koji is propagated on the rice in advance of the brewing process, and if you were to think about it, it's the living representation of the mash, right? Whereas the malt is, let's describe it historically, so I'm not getting it wrong, but spread out on a malting floor, watered, begin to grow, and then you kill it with fire, and then you steal its life to make beer, and that's metal. I love that. But it's not totally complete until you bring it into the mashing process, right? And that's where the enzymes are fully completed and you make the beer that you make. In sake brewing, the enzymes are provided by the koji because the endosperm has been polished away. So you need an exogenous or outside enzymatic force.
Okay, got it.
So the koji, whereas your 2-row is around like 140 diastatic conversion rate, I think my koji is somewhere around 800 to 1200 on the diastatic conversion rate. And it represents 1/5 to 1/6 of total grist. Total grain addition is 1/5 or 6 is my koji that I'm propagating outside. And what this does is it really ultimately allows me to have total control on my fermentation process, where I work with the farm to get the rice polished to spec. I'm my own maltster in my koji brewing process. And now I can begin brewing, where I'm steaming rice and adding volumetrically throughout the multiple additions. We'd start with the moto. The moto would be like getting a yeast pitch going the day before if you're gonna do a bigger batch. The moto or seed or mother batch it represents to me, and again, I'm going to throw out my metrics and my values, and if anyone wants to correct me, they're welcome to. It represents 10% of total grist. I'm adding 10% of my koji mai and my kake mai. My koji rice that has had the enzyme or the mold grown on it, the koji grown on it, and brought to fruition for enzymatic activity.
Okay.
And then 10% of my just brewing rice. That's just bulk rice that doesn't have anything. It's raw carbohydrate, and 10% of my water, and then yeast. And then as I volumetrically go up, I scale down in days between additions. So it goes 10%, and then 4 days, and then I'm doing 20% of grist, and then 3 days, and then I'm doing 30% of grist, and then the next day I'm doing the final 40% grist. So I'm spiraling up as I'm spiraling down. But what I'm doing in this is and this is the sauce for sake, and what I think holds sake different than other brewing practices, in addition to its multiple parallel status, is it's got a protracted or elongated aerobic fermentation condition, where I'm going 2 weeks of spoon feeding it oxygen and water and nutrient, not adding nutrients, but nutrient being like the carbohydrate. That protracted aerobic phase allows it to cleanly ferment up to 18, 19, 20% cleanly, right?
Okay.
Before I got really into sake, one of the ideas that keyed me up to this was scouring every episode of the Brewing Network and listening to Vinny Salurzo talk about his process with making his bigger beers, and I felt a parallel in that, and just to dime him out, he is actually a closet sake freak. He probably doesn't want it on his resume, but he's got that too.
When you were saying that, that's what sort of reminded me of is the way people say you should make like these big Belgian beers, or like, you can do barley wines by gradually adding the sugar. Is that
feeding
why?
it?
Yeah.
So
you'll stall it out.
Well, the other side of the multiple parallel fermentation is the koji, right? Because these enzymatic properties are so well out of spec for brewing. You've got more than enough to dry terminal. You go and because the raw ingredient you're adding is a carbohydrate, not a set sugar, I have theoretical original gravity and no original gravity, right? And theoretical terminals.
Okay.
So
sure.
So to me, sake represents the infinitely harder thing to do with no malt or hops to hide behind.
That's true, because you have no starting gravity, because it's a
raw material that's enacted upon and by the koji, and it goes through a liquefaction process, and then slowly spoon feeds it sugar as it transitions through its fatty aerobic period and its longer anaerobic period. And then because what sake does differently than beer, though, here we go, we're adding layers on. Mm-hmm. Sake does grain on fermentation. Similar to mashing whiskey, you do grain on fermentation, and you have to segregate the lees from the liquid. And in doing so, you're segregating the kasu, Kasu, or that would be all the proteins, lipids, the waste, metabolic waste of the yeast, everything going on a trube of the brew. You're separating that from the sake, and everything else is sake now. All sake, 100% of sake is filtered. If anyone says I love unfiltered, they're revealing that they don't really love sake. All sake is filtered. It's to the degree that it's filtered.
Okay.
Is to the degree that we describe nigori or cloudy.
Yeah.
And junmai is clear sake, or what would be ostensibly all other sake.
So then how are you manipulating the flavors and aromas then? Because all sakes, are you adding other things to it? Or, I mean, how do you end up with, otherwise it sounds like you would just end up with, clear malt or something, or.
So this is kind of my goal with sake is to use it as a prism to push everything else I love through it. I saw it as ultimately a worthwhile thing to be good at, but also a kind of blank slate that nobody else is pushing the boundaries on. And so I teamed up with Pete Zine over at Alesmith, and we made our Ronin Black was a Jack Daniel's barrel-aged sake that used to have Speedway Stout in it. And then we added coffee and chocolate to it to make a pastry sake. And so in that, I would be tarred and feathered and kicked out of Japan.
For sure. How did it turn out? Was it cool?
Yeah, it was metal. It was dope. It was a pastry sake. It drank lighter than a pastry stout, so you didn't lose your feet. But it had all the flavors. And have you cracked open that Arizona Bay yet?
No, I will. Let's do that. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
I'll get some of the sakes, and we'll taste those, and we'll still talk a little bit more about the process, because I do want to talk you get into that. If you're listening live on Facebook, ask questions in the chat, and I'm sure Sully will answer them for Josh. So
yeah, thank you so much. A real professional.
Everybody. Hang on, everyone. It's the session. We'll be right back. Looking around, everybody. It's the session. We are hanging out with Josh from Setting Sun Sake Brewing Company in San Diego, California. And I have 2 cans in front of me and a bottle. I have the Little Cloudy and the Arizona Bay. Which
start off with the Arizona Bay, man. That's the love letter to that Arizona Bay.
All right, so
let's see what it looks like.
It says flip to enjoy cloudy.
Yeah. So it's a peach green tea session sake, and it's got a little bit of peach, a little bit of matcha, culinary grade matcha green tea in there. And it should, I'm going to let you get in a drink, and then I'll talk about it, because I don't want to lead the tasting.
Okay. No, definitely don't do that. I love the label, by the way.
Thank you.
It's very inviting and sunny, but also it's like, I feel like the by virtue of the fact that there's peach in here, and peach colors, it sort of like reinforces what I think I'm going to taste, and it draws me in. It's very good.
Thank you. I tried very hard. Also, it's the view you would have if California fell off the map. You've got the saguaro cactuses, you've got the coastline. Learn to swim.
So so just one flip and that's it?
Yeah. You don't want to shake it up. It's not like a baby.
Slowly though. Do it slowly.
I didn't think about it.
That's too fast.
And then it's an 8% drink. You could drink it over ice, or you could drink it straight. It works both great ways.
Over ice. Okay.
Yeah. It's lightly sparkling.
It is cloudy. So why is it cloudy? Let's talk about
it's at 8%. I wanted to build up the body and mouthfeel of the sake, so I left a little bit of the rice in it, see a little bit of the rice sediment. It's what makes a nigori cloudy. It adds a perceived sweetness. In addition to that, the peach puree and matcha green tea is all in there. So it definitely isn't meant to be drank clear. And if you don't shake it up, it'll taste good, but then at the end of the can, you'll get a little hell or high watermelon surprise.
That's not supposed to happen anymore, by the way. But I appreciate your idea there.
It's called a throwback, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That is very sweet. I like it. I'm trying to understand it.
So the matcha comes across as a great melon flavor, And then the sake is this wonderful kind of rich flavor. And by virtue of the sake brewing process, it has more amino acids in it than any other alcohol. So it has more opportunities to compare and contrast. So
what does that mean? Compare and contrast.
Neener. Well, like it has more opportunity to enhance flavors, the umami characteristic or just the overall makeup of it, you know?
This is how long have you been doing these little canned session sake is what you're calling?
That project took me like a year and a half to launch, and then we just launched it. I've been R&Ding. It takes me forever to R&D. I was 3 years in research and development before I even opened this place. And so it seems that I just move slowly, but after a year and a half,
this is a really interesting product. And it's, you're right. There's that melon flavor, which I'm sure is enhanced by the peach. And it is sweet. It does have that mouthfeel, and it does sort of clean up after it. It does kind of end on a little more of a dry note than the mouthfeel would lead.
Hold on. You're saying it's super balanced and you want to drink more.
Well, that's where I'm going with it. And so, you know what I mean? Like you drink that and the mouthfeel, it's kind of sweet and the mouthfeel's full, and then it sort of dries out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just paired it with Indian food. It's fire to pair with Indian food.
I can imagine. Yeah. And so this is what I'm trying to do, right? Because I've never had anything like this. I've had sake, I've had green tea. I love green tea. I've never had matcha actually. But anyway, peaches are great. All that kind of stuff. Individually, fucking fantastic. Put together, it's taken me a little bit, to be completely honest, because I've never had flavor combinations like this before. And now that I'm having it and I'm taking multiple sips of this 8% session sake, I really like it. This is some of the most unique flavor combinations that I've had in the space.
No, tell your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep talking.
I could definitely see this with food. This is a perfect food area, especially moving into like the spring and the summer, like we're about to do right now. Hopefully, if everything, the meter hit or whatever.
And at 8%, it's the perfect lawnmower sake. You know, you just drink it all day and not fall over.
Yeah. Sure, 8%, man.
And you're in your Oli goblet.
Yeah, well, because I didn't bring a glass, I'm stupid. But
so I like to drink sake out of a wine glass. Actually, if you're at a loss, if we were to discuss drinking out of a choco, the small ceramic cup you've got, it's a really confined space and doesn't actually give the sake room to open up and get in there.
I'm frustrated. I can't get in there. That's what you're saying. I get it.
No, just keep going. You'll get in there. I believe in you. So I like to drink sake out of a wine glass, and it really allows it to open up. There's so much more to be had. And honestly, to the degree, this is going to sound wild, to the degree that an IPA is a hard sell at first, because it's like getting into a jacuzzi. If you cannonball into a bitter IPA, you're going to forever not want to go back. Yeah. But if you ease in, Stockholm syndrome sets in, and you just don't even notice how uncomfortable you are from the waist down. And sake is a lot like that. Like once you get past the simplicity of it, right, you actually can unpack it and unfold it, similar to Cantillon. You know, you got to get past the first sour hit to then get everything rewarding.
Get used to it.
And unfortunately, with sake in America, it's sold almost exclusively with raw fish. And for $1 to be dropped into an industrial light lager, there's just no way to get a good experience from that.
Yeah, well, or at least a beneficial experience. And
I've gotten drunk.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly sort of where I'm going with that. Where like the sake itself, there's like it's a grainy sort of thing, and so if you're not used to sake and you're not used to all these flavors, going together, in my opinion, it's going to take people a couple of sips to get. But once you do, that graininess of the sake is sort of what's left behind, and maybe a little bit of like the peach. And you sort of want more of that sweetness.
And I feel like there's a bunch of aging hipsters out there that are just, they don't know where to spend their money next after the latest hazy IPA. And I'm telling them sake.
Come on over. Peach, matcha. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, at Ashkenaz getting a pint of Arizona Bay.
I mean, it is kind of, it's disruptive, I imagine, to the sake community. So I'm kind of curious, like, how has it been received? I mean, it's definitely a consumer product that a consumer would want to pull, but do you get like pushback at all, or on like, because you're making something so unique and so different?
I get a lot of people that are worried about pushback. But that's a real statement, man. There's a lot of
people are coming up to you, but are you okay, Josh? Because you're getting pushback on it.
Are you? How much pushback are you getting? And
have you read about the pushback on Reddit?
There's a person out there that is unaware of how much pushback they're getting, and they just don't know how miserable they should be.
No, but keep going.
Here's the thing: people in Japan, they love American things. They exalt them. Like, they got American cars over there. And what they love, actually, more than that, is if somebody thinks things in Japan are cool, right? Like, if they're like, oh, you think Japanese things are cool? All right.
I love
Get over here.
I would be so cool in Japan.
Yeah, I'd be huge in Japan. Wow. I'm like 6'3". No, but so really, realistically, like, people who brew sake in Japan, people who dig sake, they seem to dig what I do. People who are unfamiliar with sake, they sometimes throw preconceived notions on that are not really there. I've been welcomed openly, and other than the language barrier, like, there's some cultural differences and there's some language differences, but ultimately, like, I feel like they're all rooting. So what you're saying is that you don't know what they're saying behind your back. No, because they say interesting. It's just everything's so interesting. There's very little play for the intonation.
I'm kidding.
It's true.
It feels like the Japanese sake industry, for lack of a better term, is sort of maybe more welcoming than I would consider like the Belgian brew. Like, if you went to Belgium and have like, oh, look, here's this triple that I made, I feel like you're not going to get as warm of a welcome, because it's more of like, and maybe I'm making that up, but it's like,
I don't think you are. So there's something to that. There's something to that, is that what we call sake, and this is something I love unpacking, is that we just don't understand how deep it goes. So what we call sake is Nihonshu, is a nationalized beverage with a global indicator. So Nihonshu can only come from Japan. We make sake, but when we say sake, that's kind of a placeholder for alcohol. It's like a loose translation. And when you're ordering sake, it could be up to 3 different things based on geographic location. So there's Nihonshu, which is the what we call sake. There's Okinawan sake, which is a distilled product, and then there's shochu, which is a distilled product, which is different than soju, which is also a distilled product. All these things are very different and require you have to tease them out to fully get it. I'm just trying to be the starting gate for all of that. So once I get you with the Arizona Bay and the Ronin Clear, we could start, unpacking what Jizake is and how great it could be.
Oh, I do feel like this is like a pyramid scheme.
It's a bit of a Ponzi action, yeah.
Yeah, and now we can't get out, because now we know, we're familiar with some of the terminology. Now we're stuck. We can't.
You're curious. You're curious and you want to buy some.
We are. So, we're and I feel funny, but I'm okay with it. I don't understand.
Yeah. So we're at entry level now with the Arizona Bay, which is our peach green tea session sake. But once you hit the little cloudy, that's my SoundCloud wrapper. That's
okay. This is it. This is your SoundCloud account. I'm going to open it.
It's got all that spice. It's what you want a Nigori to be. So it's an 8% Nigori sake spiced with vanilla and chai spices.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. What is wrong with you?
Lots.
Yeah. How do you come up with these flavor combinations?
So brewing doesn't pay good money. So I had to tend bar to pay for my brewing habit. And so, I spent about 10 years tending bar, and I got, had lots of fun doing that, playing with flavor combinations and learning histories there. Also, I cheat. And our front of house manager is a pastry chef by trade. And so she brings a full litany of kitchen knowledge to the table. So she toasted the chai spices to really bring this out. Now you can talk.
I'm smelling this, Sully. I can't say a word yet.
Oh, okay. Get in there.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately, but I will get it later. But I'm looking at the label. The label looks amazing.
I used a local artist on that, Ethos One. He's just a local guy that does script. I saw his stuff and I'm like, that's pretty gangster. And if I had that, I'd be gangster too.
Yeah, you're right. It looks great. I mean, it has like an edge towards Japan, but it definitely has. It's definitely San Diego, which I don't know what that exactly means, but it looks like it.
That's the thing. And so there's a lot of people that are really concerned about like authenticity of sake. Where's the water come from? Where's the rice come from? And to that, like, we're 100% Californian sake, and we're trying to be a new affectation, like a new Belgian brewery doing Trappist stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I'm working on this, man.
Yeah. What do you think? What is going on there? You're writing a PhD. Tell us what you think.
Yes, I am. I'm working on it. It's it's like the other one, and I want to apologize because I'm sure it's coming across like I don't like it, and that's not what I mean. That's not.
I'm not picking that up yet.
Because I need like with these are new. These are completely new flavors for me. And I need to sit with them and have them a couple ways.
Well, it's an hour and a half show, so speed it along. Come on.
In case you guys didn't know, I'm a super taster. I've said it before, so I get overwhelmed. Overwhelmed.
Yeah, you've got like synesthesia right now. I understand.
Yeah, man. So it's good, and
don't flash the lights. You'll have a seizure.
It's good. It's like the cinnamon nutmeg. I don't really know what goes into chai spice, so that's what I'm picking up.
Yeah, it's those things.
It's smooth. It's light for what to me like the looking at this cloudy almost has like a lavender tint to it. I'm thinking that's going to be a big hit on my palate, and it's not. It's very, I don't want to say watery, but it's very light on the palate for reading the ingredients. What you think it is.
What it sounds like is that you want to like it, but you don't trust yourself yet. And what I'm saying is take another sip and really enjoy it.
It's not that it's okay. So here's a question that might help or whatever. Is it the same? This is stupid. Is it the same sake in both drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
It is the same sake in both drinks that I'm flavoring differently in a RTD concept.
Thank you. You said it.
Because in the first one, in the Arizona Bay, I got more of the graininess. In the little cloudy, I don't get as much of the. See, now I do. This is weird. Dude, you're fucking with my head.
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
It's like his first time he's gone to Burning Man and he's freaking out. He must have liked it, but he's not sure. Somebody touched him in a funny. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're doing a little of that too. I don't know. I like it. I think the flavor combinations work really well, and I don't know why. And I think that's why I'm trying to understand it more.
Can I brag a little bit?
Yeah.
I just want to let me get in there and brag. What you're tasting is how much I'm nailing Sake Yeast number 7. Sake Yeast number 7 was the yeast I chose for our Ronin series. And I chose that because I thought that it would have more cachet or purchase with the American beer consumer. And that's basically who I am. It has a lot of ethyl acetate production or banana bubble gum, right? And so you're getting a lot of the bubble gum, the clove, the kind of Belgian phenols, along with the vanilla and chai, and all that's kind of just making you want more.
Yes, it is
a pregnant pause.
No, I was waiting for there was like a truck going by, so I was being a radio guy for a second. It's you said bubblegum and immediately you get the bubblegum with that vanilla sort of enhances those two things. And as you're talking about it, I go, I kind of want more. It just, I don't know why, but whatever you're doing, it's taking me a couple sips and sort of like adjust the pH in my palate maybe, or something to like, it's like a calibration beer before you judge, right?
There is definitely a calibration thing that goes on, but with these sakes, they're light and effervescent and should really open up your palate and make you ready for what's next.
See, and I think that's a good point. Open up your palate, and I think that's the sensation that I'm sort of getting. It's nothing's really sitting on there, but I still get flavor. So on the palate, it's dry, but I still taste the sake underneath, which is sort of like what we've always bitched about with barrel aged beers or whatever. It has to be a beer first. Well, to me, these are sakes first. And you can taste that underneath everything, which is sort of a testament to like how powerful the sake flavor it is. How well
there's going to be some sake nerds out there that are going to be upset with my interpretation of this, and I'm happy for that because I think that they're doing it wrong. It wasn't enough for me to open a sake brewery in America to produce Japanese affectations to kind of expose people to sake. I had to go further. I had to go to where they live, and I had to go to places to reach them. And that's really what Arizona Bay and Little Cloudy are, is how do I take sake just that little bit further? Because there's some people that have never had sushi, and therefore they've never had sake, or they've never been to a Japanese restaurant. But there's people that would love it if they knew it was there. And also for the people who are looking for that weird new thing, looking to unpack things like, what's that IPA? What's that sour? Sake offers so much nuance and character to unpack. I'm hyping up sake though.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, what it sounds like to me is that you don't want to do the traditional thing. You wanted to completely have fun with it and use all your experience that you've had since you've been in fermentation.
Right. So I wanted to
go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to bring hops to sake, and that's the thing that I think if anyone wants to be mad at me is for something, please be mad at me for that.
All right. Well, everybody, let me give me your email address and we'll get it out of the way.
Yeah, you did include a hopped sake.
Yeah.
That I want to get to on the next
Cryo Citra on that one, baby.
Whoa.
So here's a question. What temperature should these things be at?
So sake is wonderful to drink chilled and let it open up, right? Let it warm up. I like to drink my beer a little warmer, whether or not it's because I love German beer and European beers, and those are kind of warmer drinking. Yeah. You definitely want to, like, all of our sake is Nama, and Nama is a raw or unpasteurized sake. So it's all still alive. Our sakes will age and mature beautifully, but if left out, they will age and mature like women in Las Vegas.
So really, really well. Yeah.
Exquisitely.
Yeah, right.
I want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you keep it cold, you mature it, it'll age, and our sakes are raw, so you get that fresh aspect. But keep it at cellar temp when you want to drink it, you know, and then let it warm up from there and let it unfold. There's a lot to explore because it's got. You've got to look for the flavor, right? It's not like so clear as with malt or hops, where it's like, bam, that's citrusy.
And
it's like.
I mean, it sounds like it's also sort of like the should I put ice in my whiskey? Well, do you like it with that? Then yeah, go ahead and do it. Try it without first. And then that's what I always thought. Try it without and then add a little water to see where you get where you want it. But
there's a lot of people that ask me about hot sake. And at the brewery, I exclusively do it as tight to Christmas as possible because it's San Diego. It's beautiful weather 11 months of the year. Right? It's very
a mulled sake? Sounds
we do a
good.
mulled sake. And people love it. But outside of that, they're like, hey, can I get this heated up? I don't make my sake to be heated. Yeah. If you want to heat it up and you want to buy it, please.
Now, do you secretly, like when they come in and ask for that, are you like eh?
Yeah, but
are you judging from the get-go?
It's like when someone comes into a bar and goes, what's your hoppiest beer?
So I used to, but it's that phase hopefully is shrinking faster than when I was in beer, because I also used to be against blending beers, like, I was the
same way. I was exactly the same way.
Yeah,
I was like, what's the fucking point?
And then I stopped caring and I realized it's fine. Yeah. Get over yourself.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
So to that degree, it's like, if you want to put my sake into a slushy and then go to a child's water park to get blackout drunk, who am I to judge you as long as you're buying it?
Well, slushy. Now that's where I draw the line. Settle
down. Someone in the chat, Bob in the chat, says he wants the stuff where you wake up under a bush. And I'm like, I feel like I couldn't survive partying with Bob.
I'd say that like enough of anything will get you there. If you believe in yourself, you can truly achieve anything.
That's right, Bob. You're never too old to wake up under a bush, man.
And I'll prove that in 2 or 3 or 10 years.
For sure. So you said you just launched. So they're like a couple months old, or?
Yeah, well, they were available in the tasting room and on draft. We Ballast Point's been a huge supporter of us.
Nice.
And so we've been on tap there. It's thank you for all the people that have helped us get this far. And now we're offering it in cans. And so that, we just launched those this month.
How is rolling out a new project like this during COVID? I mean, that's got to be stressful as hell for you.
Everybody wants to ask me about how COVID's affected me. And to that, sake was really fucking difficult before COVID. And so that hasn't changed. So
that's totally fair, man.
I actually forgot we were in COVID there until you brought it up to Jason. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, jerk.
Yeah. Well, look, I wasn't going to say that you pivoted, but it's interesting, like, because
so COVID affected me in that, like, it got a fire under my ass that we distribute to 39 states now. We've got representation in Montana, so I'm like we're doing okay.
Right.
We could do better. We could buy our sake. I want to do better. But like COVID really hasn't affected us other than just make me work harder.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, I'd be stressed out to shit because it is a thing that these two drinks that you sort of need to sit with, and
do you think all of us would need to do that, or is it just you?
No, this is just me. I can't talk for everybody because I'm.
No, you can. You literally have to because you didn't get the sake to.
That's right. I have to live through you right now.
Yeah. I don't know, Sully.
I'm having like a one hitter here of like what I don't even know what it is.
A one cup.
I'll talk about you for a second. I think that you could probably work through it a little bit more than me because I'm trying to drink it and not only take it in and input it, but then talk about it in some semblance of fashion. But if I would just had to enjoy this, like,
it's okay. You could unpack these feelings on subsequent shows over the next 3 months. You could bring it. You remember that one time I had that thing
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So
my city says sake.
The other
somebody record that hit.
The other bottle you wanted to get to, at least for the first break, I think, is the Ronin Clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is this? Well, by the way, everybody, it's in a fucking Grolsch bottle, which I love. I think that's great. I mean, it's obviously a larger bottle, larger.
Well, so that's a 750 swing top.
There you go. 750 swing top.
Thank you. And the reason for that is because people want to know what do they do with the bottle if they can't finish it in one day. Sake is actually incredibly oxygen tolerant and will last far longer than beer or wine, whereas wine turns to vinegar and beer does some weird shit, turns to paper in like a day or two. Sake is good for a week, and some people tell me longer, but I don't trust those people. So if you open the bottle, a glass every day, you should not notice a degradation in flavor. And it's refillable because it's sealable. So bring it back to the brewery and I'll refill it.
Oh, nice. So it's like a growler, but cooler.
Yeah, it's a very smart way of doing packaging.
Yeah, if you do say so yourself. So this is Junmai Ginjo.
Yes, and Junmai means pure rice. Jun and Mai, it means pure rice. So if you were to talk about the sake market broadly, it breaks into Junmai or Hanjonzo. Hanjonzos have alcohol added, and it's a style and a quality of sake. If you like it, it's good. I like it. I prefer Junmai. They have a more rounder flavor. They're less linear, less sharp. So Junmai means pure rice. 4 simple ingredients: rice, water, koji, and yeast. And ginjo refers to the polish of the rice, referring to it being polished down to 60%, remaining 40% removed. Sake yeast number 7 is our fermenter on this. And I created the water profile not to map any prefecture in Japan, but more to be like a homeostatic center out for fermentation. So I salted appropriately to feed the yeast.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So
that makes sense.
I think this is what I should have done first, because taste. So is this the same sake that's in the session sakes?
Yes.
I get it. I get the drink.
You found it?
I get the drinks now.
You're a woman now.
Yes, thank you very much. Because you know what I mean? Because I can taste the base of what's in those drinks.
Okay.
And I can, because that's what sort of was fucking me up, where it's like I'm looking for the sake, but then here's melon, and I'm looking for the sake, but then here's like vanilla.
You wanted to find the base.
Yeah.
You were base hunting.
Free base now. You're free to base.
I'm free basing. That's, well, you know, look, man, out here in East Valley, East County, that's what we do. It smells great. It's this like almost woody, grainy, ricey thing. It is very unlike some. I haven't had a lot of sakes, but it's unlike a lot of sake I've had, because it does have like a deeper flavor, and I guess woody doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you smelled it, you would know what I'm talking about. Is that a good? Do you think it's a good?
That's literally the best you could do.
Yeah. Is it good enough for you to love me, Daddy?
Dude, I've loved you for years. You're great. Did the video cut out?
It may have stalled a little bit, but you know, we can still hear you.
Hey, what? So while Jason has his nose in that,
hang on.
Oh, I did lost him.
I don't know if we can hear. I don't know if Josh can hear us.
Okay, I see. I don't see him, but I don't hear him either.
I'll probably pop in and pop out. See, this is the problem. This is why this is a show I need more people on, because it's hard for me to. We were talking about this on some other show. It's hard enough just to taste beer and then talk about it, and that's it. But like, this is something completely new, and then you put it in cocktails.
Yeah.
Well, and you're having to like figure it out on your own. I'm sitting here going like with a smiley face, like, isn't it great? The label looks great, doesn't it?
Just do it, Jason.
You're doing great, though.
Yeah, you are doing great.
You're doing great.
So is sort of, well, never mind.
Well, while you got your nose in there, I got a quick question for you. So is your like what's your place look like? I mean, do you have a polisher? Do you have filters? Is it ginormous? Is it like a factory? What is it?
Gorgeously pointed. If you were to imagine it, it's gold and jewel encrusted.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, you have tanks and you have, filters and
bathtubs. I have a series of bathtubs that I get in and out of.
All right, that's fine. That's good. That's a start.
No. So I have 5 3-barrel conical fermenters and 6 10-barrel conical fermenters that I process my products through, as well as my barrel aging program and offsite storage from maturation of other projects. I coming from a beer industry, if you were to imagine it, it's everything minus the brew house. And when people ask me about how big it is, it's like a lot of people just don't have the capacity to understand it, not because they're not smart, but because there's not a good clear gauge. When we describe size of a brew house in beer, we describe throughput of the brew house, right? Oh, I've got a 15-barrel 5 setup, blah blah blah. But if we and then they have multiple tanks of varying sizes as much as they can finance. And in me, I don't have the
I know that part.
We could talk.
So and I saw on you have a tasting room. It looks great. You have a great mural there of a samurai.
He's our Ronin samurai, and the concept behind that is that I brew. I have a masterless ideology on brewing. In Japan, they brew sake to taste like the sake before them, and the sake before them, in iteration after iteration, that I feel is a kind of like degradation of flavor, because you're constantly chasing the lightest flavor, and that's not a true representation of local culture.
Are they?
And so,
you think they're stuck? Are they stuck? Are they pigeonholing themselves, and they can't really grow because it's tradition, and this is what we have to do?
I think that could be described during several periods of every alcohol production across the world throughout time, right? Like, we could describe the bottle shock moments of wine. We could talk about how 96 wasn't the year to open a brewery for a lot of people. But 2006 was, right? And there's a...
So I was right, and that's all I got out of it.
Yeah. It's just...
Hey, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not. I don't have anything good to say. Go ahead.
No, you did. You're about to say something really funny.
Well, look, I'm sitting with the sake, and it's very flavorful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like that. It's robust, but it's not overly so. It's very good, man. I'm sitting here sipping on it.
I brew sake for the American palate. I want Americans to enjoy sake, and so our flavors are bolder. It's part of my protracted fermentation process. It builds up the umami, and then all those things add to give it thicker, bigger flavor. And I'm trying very hard to make it the most like easy way to bridge the gap into like losing your mind with sake and finding out how deep buying another cooler for imported bottles.
Yeah, because it's not so like in your face where it would put anybody off, but there is enough there where it's not like, here's a dry white wine. You know what I mean? There's a little
sake
bit of
has lower acidity than wine, no tannin sulfates, and the longer fermentation profile tends to produce shorter chain alcohols that are more digestible. So sake is actually healthier to drink, is what they tell me.
You heard it here first.
I'm also drinking alcohol, so it's very hard for me to promote the health of that.
Sure.
Sake is high in succinic acid, which pairs amazingly with shellfish. Yeah. And here's a secret pairing that nobody knows about sake: cheese. The tyrosine crystals in Gouda or cheddar become umami fireworks when you're drinking sake. And if you just get any sake and cheese, you'll have a wonderful time. But if you get my sake and Beehive Creamery out of Utah, you'll have the best of times.
Beehive Creamery.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
They can do stuff right. They got large white temples out there and cheese.
Hell yeah, man.
You also have it on draft, I saw. It looks like you're tasting me of draft.
Yeah, so we do our Core 4 on draft, which is our Ronin Clear, our Ronin Cloudy, our PHG, which is pomegranate, hibiscus, and green tea infused. The pomegranate for the fruitiness, hibiscus for the floral notes, and the green tea actually acts like hops and a bitterness, earthiness that draws it back to center.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, green tea can have this weird sweet bitterness to it.
Yeah, and then our hoppy sake is also on tap, which is Cryo Citra. I've done a ton of iterations and released many of them in bottles. So if you can find them out there, they're dope.
So how does that work with adding hops? Because Cryo Citra is like 26 BUs or alpha acids, excuse me, and it's the sake talking. So like, how does that work? I mean, is it super bitter? Or are you just using a minute amount? Are you looking for aroma, and what's driving the show on that?
Well,
okay, so
Josh,
why don't we hang out for a second? Let's take a break. That's a perfect segue. I'll go grab the bottle that I have.
Yeah.
You don't have, but I want to drink it.
Oh, shit.
And then we're going to come back.
Again.
We'll talk.
He's already drunk.
We're going to talk about
fine.
It. It'll be great. We're going to break it down. It'll be fun. It's fantastic.
Everyone, we're having fun.
Yeah, it's the
we're
session.
Having fun.
We're hanging out with Setting Sun Sake Brewing Company, San Diego, California. Josh is hanging out, dropping some sake knowledge. Hang on, everybody. We'll be right back. Great. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging around. It's the session. We're here. We have 3 bottles of sake lined up in front of me. Personally,
Jesus.
Josh, we have the hoppy. You want to do that first, or should we do the Treaty of Friendship? What should we
do? The hoppy first, and then because the Treaty of Friendship is a wild experiment.
Okay. So Sully, go ahead and ask about your cryo hop edition while I take 12 hours to figure out how to explain this.
Oh, you're gonna love this. Do you know how bitter IPAs can be? Do you know how bitter I can? This isn't that. So a lot of.
Wait, let's start over again. We totally blew that. Ask the question again. Do your question again.
Do you know how bitter IPAs can be?
They can be really bitter, Josh.
Well, this isn't that.
Oh my gosh.
Were you a child actor? You're so good.
I think I'm still an actor and maybe a child too, but keep going.
Yeah, I'm a man child for sure. So a lot of people talk about IPAs as a way of getting hops through to people. And when people do a study of that, you have to look at the malt bill. And if I were to give praise to anyone, I think society has done the best job of that by becoming iconoclast for driving the driest fucking IPA possible. I think that they were like upfront for giving you, before even like the Brute IPA became a thing, just a super bright, crisp, salted IPA that allows the hops to shine through.
Nice.
But unfortunately, you still have malt. And in sake, you've got an ethyl extraction of post-fermentation ethyl extraction of the hop, and then funneling those flavors with nothing to hide behind.
So it has aroma and no bitterness.
Yeah, and some flavor. I think without leading the tasting, although I might jump in on this, it's got a lot of lychee and stone fruit. It's got a lot of tropical fruit notes that Citro really does have in it, but you can't get that past all the other characteristics of a beer.
So you think this is the purest expression of a hop?
I'm thinking I'm trying to make people mad, and this is what I'm going to say to make people mad.
This is why I asked the question.
This is the purest way to enjoy hops is in sake.
There you go.
There's going to be a whole Reddit thread on that.
I hope so. Just angry people everywhere in their underwear.
It's going to make worse beer blogs for sure. Yeah.
He said what?
Okay. This is funky, man, because number one, I want to let it warm up a little bit, but you smell it and it's like a fragrant, almost how fragrant like white wine can get, like the good white wines, but in a hoppy form. Like I said, there's that citrus, but it's not the grassy that you can get from IPAs. It's not the carbonic, whatever from the carbonation shooting in your nose. It's not all that malt that you were talking about. It is just this sort of like delicate, like
sound angry a little bit, by the way.
Sort of delicate, like it's almost like if the flavor was encased in gelatin. I don't know why I'm like conjuring the image up, but that's what I'm going with. That's what
it's like a jelly bean of hops.
It really is, man. And then you taste it, and it's I don't know if there's any hop flavor there. You said there is. I don't know if I'm getting it. Maybe it's too cold. And it's not bitter at all.
Mm-hmm. No,
it's the funkiest. You're like the funkiest. I don't know what the fuck you're doing down there.
When you say funky, though, are you saying like Sante Adarius? Like
no. I'm not saying funky in the term of like brewing. I'm saying funky in terms of like my headspace is like twisted around because I'm expecting a certain thing based on the aroma.
Yeah,
the flavor is delivering something different, and it's lacking the thing that I'm assuming should be in there, which is the bitterness. And
we're gonna switch it on them. Flip mode.
I like it. I really do like it. I think it's very, very clever.
It's good that you got the $50 I put in that box.
Well,
except you didn't want him to use the word clever.
Yeah, bro, I'm for shit. I will find money. I
am clever. Oh, here we go.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like blow smoke, but it is this is a sake you can have with other beverages. You can have back, right, or whatever. I like it.
And you can pair it with food, but let's jump into this beer. I brewed this beer to make people upset.
Okay. Did you like honestly try to like just piss people off by doing this?
McKellar let me.
Is that where you got the hops from?
No, the Treaty of Friendship was a collaboration we did with McKellar. It's actually their product.
Yeah. Oh no, we're not talking about the Treaty of Friendship. The hoppy.
Oh no, the hoppy. Oh no. I buy the hops from hop purveyors.
Okay.
Like when I have rice, I have tons of it.
Yeah. I just because like I think maybe we jumped timelines there for a second. So
I was trying to move forward.
Yet. Oh well, I'm not done with this one.
All right, here we go.
Out. Yeah. It's great. It's good. I like it. I like it a lot, man. If I would have this with a fucking Coors Banquet.
So are you saying that that's the best way to have hops, or are you saying that that's the best way to shotgun into a Coors so Coors could have hops?
I'm saying that both flavors complement each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I should have made that drive out there today. I should have.
Sully, it's okay. Drive to me. Come hang out.
Okay. All right. I'll see you guys. I've seen a little while.
Sully, I've capped both of these.
8 hours later.
I will definitely.
Who's there?
For you.
Sean. What? Oh, that's right.
God, okay, as it's warming up, I'm getting some of those hop flavors, some of those like citrusy, the grassy notes that you get from hops, but it is very, very different. Look, beer drinkers, you got to find this because it will definitely flip your wig, dude. It's
I'm
weird.
flipping wigs.
It's weird. It's weird, Josh. I'm sorry, but it's weird. And it's very
no. I wanted to be weird though. Like really, if I was going to be anything, isn't weird the way to be?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Are you going back to Arizona Bay? Is that what I saw?
No,
He's chasing it. He's chasing it.
I'm rinsing my glass out with Signature Select Seltzer water.
I'm going to rinse my glass out with this delicious McKellar beer I was just handed. This is becoming an advertisement for my neighbors.
Yeah. Are you close to the McKellar guys down there?
Emotionally and physically. Yeah, we're a walking distance.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. I love it.
What's the connection between you two, since you brought it up?
No. Well, we did the collab. We've got the Treaty of Friendship there that I would love for you to give your opinion on the air, because I literally brewed it to piss people off.
You want to do it now?
Yeah,
do it
let's
now.
do that. We'll do it live.
Do it.
So my friendship is some of them like to come here and drink after work, but they all do it responsibly and without driving home.
Sure.
Because it takes a lot of good beer to make great wine. It takes a lot of good sake to make great beer.
That's right.
It's
one
so,
DY to undo it all. So
right, and so that beer is a smoked peach goza. It's salted, it's smoked, it's sour, it's fruited, it's all those things.
Oh yeah, you're an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Bring it.
It's a smoked peach cobbler.
Yeah,
Is the way it smells.
That sounds good.
It does actually. Honestly, that sounds really good. See, now I think my brain has been melted by your brain.
I may have put drugs in that.
Hell yeah! All right, let's taste it.
what do you think?
Oh yeah, I absolutely hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I'm kidding.
No.
It's fuck. See, here's the problem with you, Josh, is that you're not.
I'm charming.
You're not brewing
likable.
You're not brewing one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the sake and it's good and that aside, right? Just the plain sake is that aside. But everything I've had from you is just like a spin on something with this other shit added into a base that most people don't have an experience with. And so I think that's sort of melted your brain.
No, I'm really good with my mouth.
Yeah. And then thank you. And then you come with something like this. And it's just, I don't know that anybody else could come up with something weird like this, because it's smoky and it's peachy and it's sweet, but it's not. And it's a little bit tart, but it's sort of not. And it's like, it's just this funky thing, man.
Are you just, is it because you're trying to contextualize it? Just trying to like put it in, like wrap your brain around it? Can you just accept it for what it is?
No, I can't. I physically can't.
It's like saying like this band sounds like, I don't know, Mumford & Sons meets the Rolling Stones or whatever.
Yeah,
but
hold on.
But that's my job, right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing, is talking about it. So I have to put it in a context to then translate it out. And it's like that filter is sort of clogged with Josh's weirdness. It's like hard for me to deal with.
It's the name of the next beer, by the way.
So if you really want to have a good time, check the Untapped on this. The Untapped is lit.
Oh, I am sure they just fire you up over this. So explain to me this beer, please.
So I can't take 100% credit of this. This happened after several drinking sessions of enjoying beer and sake and talking about how sideways we could possibly get. Like, how can we nail a style the wrongest way? And I got to say that Dan Caddy over there, McKellar, really brought the heat, man. He hit the right amount of smokiness for the right amount of salinity, the right amount of acidity, and then everything else just jives. And so it's not that it's one thing; it is all those things all together and one. I'm not trying to say that I'm good. This is 100% McKellar's job. No. I just was next to him while they did it.
Well, what's your role? Was it your idea and then they brewed it? Is there sake in it?
Did you have anything to do with it?
So yeah, no, I mean, we talked about the recipe and there's some koji in it. And so there's elements of sake, although this is more of like a have fun and make beer, which
Love it.
I mean, when we do things, let's just have fun and make beer.
Well, I appreciate it. Under 5%. So
yeah, I wanted to have something to drink, and I got this really like, I don't know how to respond to this because I'm not like a real person, I think. But the GM of McKellar looked at me the other day, and he's like, "Hey," he looked at his Apple Watch, his email. "Oh, there's a pallet of the Treaty of Friendship rounding the Horn of Africa on its way to Europe right now." It's like, Man, does that mean that I have a collab that's going international? That's cool. I like that.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, congrats.
So cool.
So that's maybe like people in Europe, go buy that stuff. It's good.
It is good. It is good. And part of me didn't want it to be. I don't know why.
You're a hater.
Yeah, I'm a super fucking hater, dude. But that the sour comes through again as it's warming up because I just took them right out of the fridge. The smoke is sort of blending with that sourness, like the sour's coming through a little bit more. It's a good beer.
So now that your palate's primed, go ahead and clear it and hit that brewberry. That is my affectation of a lambic, like a framboise, right? You'd have a raspberry fruited lambic. This is a blueberry fruited lambic, although I went with the Japanese pronunciation of blueberry to hone it in.
Blueberry?
Blueberry, yeah.
Do you worry, well, as I open this, do you worry about, and I know you and Sully were talking about a little bit.
Josh does not worry about anything.
Just about like pressure from being traditionalist, but do you worry about like labels of cultural appropriation or something stupid like that?
Okay, so I 100% worry about being accurate. I am every day, all day, reading as much as I can and checking. And literally, my buddy Yosuke, he's the brewmaster of Toji of Gekikon, America, and he, I send him all of my labels. He's my checkpoint, and he may not like this being public, but he's my checkpoint. Like, does that vibe with you? Are you mad? And everything he sends back is it's great. It's great. So either he wants me to fail, or
it works.
But realistically, I don't worry about cultural appropriation because I'm not trying to tell anyone I'm Japanese.
Interesting. Okay, and so I asked you.
Oh man, the video froze. This is the worst time to.
We can still hear you though.
Yeah, you'll come back.
Can you hear us? Let's just wait. We'll wait a second.
It's okay.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
Get some fresh koji. You'll be fine.
It is the worst time too. Dude, the hoppy is good. I'll try to read.
Is it good? Is it?
It's good.
All right, I want to try it.
Yeah.
And maybe what we'll do is we'll fire up your pizza oven for once, and we could get I could roll out there and throw some dough.
Come out tomorrow.
I can't do it tomorrow.
Well, see, that's why it'll never happen.
I can Friday though.
But I know I'm doing something Friday. I have a doctor's appointment Friday. I'm right back.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, you made the call.
What time Friday?
I don't know. Later.
Night? Yeah, later.
Yeah.
I can do later. I kind of want to cap this treaty of friendship, but I think he either gave me 2 bottles of it, or I'm gonna drink it before you even get a chance to do it. But like the sakes are all capped. They're all like swing top closed. And the smoked peach. Did I not show the smoked peach label, Samantha? I'm sorry.
No, you haven't showed us anything.
Shut up.
Oh, that's a beautiful label.
Is it a peach of a label?
It is. It looks
cool,
great.
like the samurai. I'm going to draw.
It's a Mickler label, or however you pronounce it. I never know how to do that.
I don't know either, and I think that's part of why I didn't want to like it, because I've never had a really good Mickler beer, but I haven't tried them in like 8 years, so I don't know. But this beer is very good.
It looks like you.
Out of focus and sideways with a bunch of
and a little angry, but still lovable.
Yeah, I don't know. Am I? I guess I am angry. I don't want to start the brewberry without him, but
yeah, where is he?
I don't know. He'll come back, man.
You want to take a break?
No, I've already taken a break. I've already taken our 2 breaks. I'm going to pause there.
I don't know. You didn't even announce me when I came on the show, so I don't even know if people know I'm here.
Oh, everyone knows. All right.
Jason, this is what we're going to do while he's gone. Here's the commercial. We've got to drive down to Setting Sun Sake Brewery, and we got to check this place out.
It's cool. I would definitely go. Speaking of commercials, on our last episode of In Depth, I don't know if you heard, but Jeremy did your commercial as a live read.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He really wanted to. I'm like, go for it. I'm sure Sully would love it. And
actually, I think we talked about this. We're not on the air right now, right? I think we talked about this, that I didn't want him reading anything.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, no, but Jeremy did okay, man. He did all right.
That's good.
He had fun with it, and he pretended he was you, but with Jeremy's voice, and it killed me, dude.
So he was doing Walt Disney as me, or me doing Walt Disney?
No, your commercial.
I know. I get the joke. You've lost the joke. You're behind.
Well, jokes.
Let's get to the blueberry. What are we doing?
Yeah, Josh.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, man.
What happened?
So before
Satan.
Yeah. Before he left,
Satan happens.
We were talking cultural
Not today.
and all that kind of stuff. And where I'm coming from that is like I'm into like tiki drinks and tiki bars and shit like that. And they've gotten a lot of flack for being culturally misrepresenting or culturally appropriate or whatever. And I can understand that, but then I can also not. I mean, so I'm sort of
to address that, there's a lot of people concerned about pushback.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think those people should do push-ups. I think those people should run on a treadmill.
That's a good way to put it, dude.
I think there's a lot of people that are like have extra calories to burn and shouldn't be so worried about it. Like if they are, call me. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Well, I think what the differentiation is that it's not cultural appropriation if you're doing it right. If you're doing justice by the method and you know the terms and you know where they come from and you understand all the things, that then I think it's just paying homage or just taking up the mantle or trying to just move things in different directions.
That last one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not.
So if I were to toot my own horn and say what I'm really trying to do, man.
Yeah.
When I find something I like, I do a deep dive. I want to go back to its roots. I want to understand it from its core, from an agricultural standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, from an affectation of taxation and government. And like there's a lot of things that dictate what we do, what we call a finished product, right? Mm-hmm. And in no way am I trying to tell people I'm Japanese. I use California rice. I use California techniques. I'm a California person. But what I do is I am a person of California, I assure you. Documentation, I pay taxes.
What's your social? Let's go.
But what's my social? No.
Hold your COVID test up with your birth date on it too, so we can put the two together.
to prove that I've been kidnapped.
Yeah. I see what you mean, though.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ring a bell as loud as I can, and I'm trying to say, hey guys, beer is really cool. Wine's really cool. Mead is really cool. Cider, mead's not really that cool. The cider's really cool.
Yeah.
I have a mead collaboration coming out with Lost Cause. I think they're amazing. But like there's, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't doubting. I'm just asked.
So no, there's a lot of things that I think are really cool. And I think sake is cool. And if I could make it, I'm going to make it my way. I hope you've enjoyed it. And when you're done, please buy a Japanese sake and then go further, right? If you really enjoyed that one beer, you'll have another and another, and you'll lose your mind as a ticker, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that's like the, where I think the tiki culture is sort of going, or maybe has been for a little bit. I don't know, but it's like, you have a tiki mask on your wall. Well, learn if that's actually a real tiki god or not. Like learn if that's a real Polynesian thing, or if someone just made it up, and just learn a little bit about the cultures that these come from. So then it's not necessarily so, kind of weirded out. And that's what you're doing. I mean,
sake is ultimately Japanese, and there's no way to make sake other than the Japanese way of making sake. When I first got into it, I really thought I was smart, and I thought I could make anything, and I thought I could do sake as if I was doing beer or mead or cider. And what I really learned was there was no brewing method other than the sake brewing method to make sake.
Because they had thousands and thousands of years of doing it. So, and you were thinking of like...
I give pushback on that. Now we're going to come into pushback that I'm putting out there is when we talk in the pre-interview, what are things you're angry about? Angry. If we were to talk about beer, we don't talk about beer lost in history. It's an affectation of modernity, right? Louis Pasteur changed the way beer is made. The Reinheitsgebot changed the way beer is made, bringing it further. Every iteration pulls it further into modernity to the point that we now use all kinds of spectrometers to analyze our beer to make sure it's within spec, to do things, and it's no longer connected to its roots of being in an amphora or a hole in the ground. It's to say that there's hundreds of years of beer is to say that it's not the beer we're drinking today. And to say that there's thousands of years of brewing tradition in Japan. One of my favorite facts is that there's Japanese breweries with trees on the grounds that are older than America, right? Their brewery has been in production for longer than America's been a thing. And so you have to give credence to that. Just like Fuller's has been around since the 1800s, and you have to appreciate that. But the sake they produce now is not representative of the sake they produced hundreds of years ago, because consumer palates have changed, transportation, pasteurization, all these techniques have affected what we now consume. That's me being opinionated.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. And I think if people are going to drill down into figuring out, well, what's appropriate or what's not, or what is traditional or what's not, then you sort of do have to keep going further and define what traditional actually means.
And that's how I tricked you into loving me, as I bamboozled you with words.
You actually did. I just bought timeshare from you just during the break.
Are you ever going to do a collaboration with like a Japanese sake brewery? Is that
as soon as they fly me out there, man? I can be bought. I'm very cheap.
Okay. Hell yeah.
You should push that. You have to push that.
How cheap I am? I have been for years.
No.
Like a Japanese brewery, or like, I feel like that's just sort of a natural fit, but maybe that's like assuming too much. I'm gonna try this brew.
Funaguchi, if I could fuck with Funaguchi, man, I that is my number one sake, because that's what got me in. That's my Newcastle, if you were. That's my downtown brown. Wasn't
that a guy on The Sopranos?
Big Funaguchi, yeah.
A Funaguchi to you,
right? So like I would love to, but to the degree that, man, if you wanted Wireman's or Breeze or Muntons, you can get any malt on any corner in America, because homebrewing's been legal for years, and the knowledge. Fred Eckhart broke his back getting out there for everybody. But if you want a rice polished to a specific semi-buai, a yeast that's only been selected and bred in Japan, you want there's no infrastructure. So everything I've done has been hand built and like forced into life. So I'm not trying to like say it's too much. It's what I needed to do. And so I've been busy. You guys, I want to go to Japan. Hopefully somebody hears this and sends me there.
It's totally going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm drinking the Burberry.
Thank you. Try harder.
Say the name for me.
Hit every phoneme. Baruberry.
Baruberry.
Yeah, hit every phoneme. It's easy. Yeah. So that's like my interpretation of an American lambic through sake, fruited to be that. And it's not sweet blueberry. It's got all of the unctuous, earthy, antioxidant flavors that are in blueberry, with bright acidity and funk and barrel. And you can take time on this one while you absorb it. Please be a super taster.
Yeah, well, look, first of all, I can't be something I already am. You know what I mean? I just am the thing. I can't turn it on or off. Superman could turn off his X-ray vision? No, he's always looking at it if you have seen it.
No, he sometimes turns it off. That's what I read.
No, he can't. He can't do it. So, okay. Chardonnay barrel aged feral sake fruited with blueberry. What is a feral sake, and should I get a rabies test?
Yes, you should, but
you had a COVID test, you're fine.
So feral usually indicates a beer that's not inoculated with a selected strain, and then when we discuss that, it's usually from the open biome, and I affected that through open top fermentation, and here we are.
See, okay, so this is what I'm getting. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
Was that nice? Did I sound like a dick?
No, it was fine, man.
No, but it sounded good.
Yeah, I tuned out halfway through.
Because you're under fifth sake. You're doing fine though. Keep going.
Like, there's like a hint of blueberry pancake syrup, and you can't tell me I'm wrong, because that's what I fucking taste. But I
all right. I've never had blueberry pancake syrup or your mother's burnt bread pudding. Michael Jackson. Keep going.
It's that the wood coming through with sort of those kind of like toasted quality.
How funky is it though? It's funky.
It's funky. And when I say blueberry pancake syrup, it's like IHOP blueberry pancake syrup. but it's not sweet. It's not that sweet, but it's those flavors where that's how, I don't know, nice you were with how much blueberry you added. I think you got the additions correct. I think you got the amounts of different things very, very accurate as far as what people are going to enjoy. This is very, very good. It's funky and it's tart.
But you'd like it if you were a sour beer drinker, right? You'd get it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so if you like sour beer, you'd like the sour sake.
Yeah, for sure. And to top it all off, at the end, you taste the sake, especially tasting the Ronin Clear. Now I know what the flavors are at the end of the thing, right? At the end of the house, at the end of the tasting, this is what it is, right? This is the foundation. It's like you built up this house or this building, and then as you drink it and as you clears your palate, it tears all the way down, and what you're left with is that foundation, which is that sake. And
that's what I want to do to your soul. I want to tear you down, and what's left is just the best parts of you after you drink the sake.
Josh, I'm what's called a podcaster. Okay, I don't have a soul.
I'm a podcaster.
Okay, and I watched this documentary on Netflix. It's the Murder at the Hotel Cecil, which is fucking awful. It's terrible. Watch.
That's the one. That's the hotel in LA.
Yeah. If you start talking about Years Up, I leave.
I'm not going to do that yet. But
really, don't say that. They're going to serve your sake there one day if they don't do it.
So they have like people on that are like internet snoops. They're nosy dicks on internet. Anyway, but they're called web sleuths. They call themselves web sleuths. And this guy's like, "Whoa, what would I call myself? I would call myself a YouTuber." And I'm like, "Oh, you called yourself a YouTuber?" And then I realized that I call myself a podcaster all the time. And the same thing.
Yeah, no, anyway. But people have been asking me about this. They're like, "Oh, you're going to be on the Brewing Network?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have no idea how stoked I am." Dude, and they're like, "So is it like a podcast?" I'm like, "No, it's been on the radio before, I think, for a little bit, and it's some TV. I think they're a media network."
That's true. Never doubt us, man. I would, fuck all the haters. No, this is it's very good, man. I like it. It's not sour. It's tart.
Yeah,
it's funky. There's a whole lot of things going on. So when you say you're in like 35 states or whatever,
39,
all your product line.
Could I? Oh no, just the nonsense I pushed to the TTB, man. That is a nightmare. So we do a lot of tasting room exclusive releases, and those are great. And then we put out what we make the biggest batches of, kind of thing. We get that nationwide. So our core four is our year-round production.
What are
our Ronin Clear, which you tried, our Hoppy, which you tried.
Yep.
The PHG is our pomegranate, hibiscus, and green tea infused. And then a Nigori is actually the exact same brewing recipe and process as the Ronin Clear, just not always the same batch. Like if you try them in parallel, we make different volumes of them because all sake is filtered. It's to the degree that you filter it, kind of thing. So it's a unique study on sake. I love it.
It's cool, man.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's rad.
And so we just launched on our website today. If anyone's hearing this, we launched a homebrew kit. We'll send you a bucket, an airlock, and raw and ingredients. You have to provide your own water and heat and effort. But
water? What are you talking about? Come on, don't be silly. Effort? You're crazy, man.
But on the other side of that is I'll really email you back if you want to get good at it. So like I truly think that beer has had the zeitgeist effect where craft beer went from this thing where I was producing a local Bavarian Hefeweizen, and I'd go to a local bar and go, "Don't you want to have this on over Pyramid?" And no fault to Pyramid, but I'm just saying local and craft. And they go, "No, nobody buys that. Everyone buys Bud Light." And then 10 years later, they have 50 taps, right? And they all hyper exclusive. And I go, "Can I get a Miller Lite?" And they're like, "What are you, some kind of slob?" And so now I'm hoping that like it starts with like you get one tap of Arizona Bay or one tap of Little Cloudy or a Ronin Clear, and then 50 taps one day in the future. But it all starts somewhere, and so this is where we're at, right? And home brewing, the closer you can get to it, the more you can understand it. The if you feel you have an opinion about it, you might buy more of it. So we have a homebrew kit. email me and I'll give you all the pointers.
Yeah, I'm on your website right now. It's it's great to see that up there.
Oh, good. You should get one, man. I'll talk you through it. I think you know fermentation.
A little bit. I don't know, but maybe.
You get the simple one down. Multiple parallel fermentation for those that are trying hard.
So we, at More Beer, we used to import this sake kit. It was like a little tiny packet, but it had the koji on it, and it was a thing. And I made some, and it was the nigiri.
The fish. You made fish.
I made the fish from it.
You made the fish.
So I solved the hunger problem in the world. Turned rice into fish. I'm basically the fish, Jesus Christ. No,
while doing podcasts.
Well, no, this was before. This is
podcasts.
But anyway, and it was from Japan, and they stopped making it. But it was cool. It was the come on, tell me what it's not nori.
So here's what they sent you was it was nigori. Yeah. And it translates to cloudy. It literally translates to cloudy.
And it was good. It was easy. It was easy to do. So I would buy a kit from you, man. I would do that again.
Here's the thing. I think personally, sake is far more forgiving because it's not oxygen susceptible. Like you could have the roughest skills, and you're not going to end up with a paper bomb. Right. It's far more forgiving, although it's articulated. There's 4 days involved. There's a month of it being, you got to maybe separate it a little bit. But what you yield is you waging war with 2 biological agents and modernity. I mean, it's for the gods.
Give me the website.
SettingSunSake.com, because sake comes from the land of the rising sun, and here in San Diego is where the sun sets.
That's true, man.
Did I do the pitch?
God damn, that's clever.
Good job.
I got Josh Shing. I'm getting help with my own email, but he spelled it wrong.
Okay.
Josh, Josh, at settingsunsake.com. If you want to, if you're mad at me, if you're happy with me, if you feel nothing at all, email me. Send me nude pictures.
Yeah. Send you NTF, man. Chris Rogers in the chat, who's one of our ugliest listeners. I'm just kidding. Says make the horchata sake again. You mean a horchata sake?
So we've played around with the horchata sake as a Sir Khalifas resident. I want to represent my Southern California brethren.
Yeah, dude,
but that's our little cloudy. That morphed in. It morphed into our little cloudy. It's one of those things where people are going to be very contentious and say that I made it best in this year or better in that year, and I'm really fucking sick of hearing it.
I will tell you, Chris also says that you are the biggest revolution in San Diego brewing since Stone.
Oh,
whoa.
Stone was my favorite job ever. That was the last square job I had that I enjoyed. And one of the things about Stone that I think is resonant to what we do is Stone, when I was there, did not win that many GABF awards because they were not brewing to style. They brewed what they wanted because they wanted to. And that was kind of cool. And so I'm doing that. And I'm not trying to tell people I make great Japanese sake. That comes later. I'm going to release the kaiju later this year, and that'll be my love letter to Japan. But until then,
your kaiju is more of like a traditional.
So the Ronin is an affectation of what California sake would look like, because I use California rice. I use White Labs yeast. They're right down the street from me, so I can get really, really mad at the person when it's not great. Yeah. No, it's always great. It's actually, I have no problems with them. But we do everything California. That puts us outside of the Japanese aesthetic. So I wrote a recipe to be in that thing, and that'll be the kaiju, and that's coming out. I did this really rad label for it. I'm excited on that project.
Awesome, man. That's cool. SettingSunSake.com.
SettingSunSake.com. We have got our Sakura special currently, and proceeds go to the Japanese Friendship Garden during the Cherry Blossom Festival. Please support them because I love beautiful gardens.
That's cool. And you have a supporters club, the Ronin Club.
The Ronin Club are those people. So right behind me are these wood slats. You see the black frame with people's names in it. Yeah. If you wanted to say you were really, really cool and you were hipper than all of your friends, you would put your name. Yeah. If you want to put a tile somewhere Like maybe the Brewing Network would have one.
No, just me. Fuck the Brewing Network. Just me. Just Jason.
Just me.
Yeah, I thought you were cool. So you join our club and you get Ronin coin, and you could spend it for sake shipped to you, or you could rent our tasting room for your own personal event if you wanted to drive down here on one of your acid-fueled Disneyland adventures. Huh?
Oh. You know what? I would, but like that fucking road, that highway between LA and San Diego is just the most terrible fucking invention in the entire universe. That 3 hours is like 8 hours.
Yeah. No, fly down here, hang out here, and then that's your problem after that. Just come here.
Yeah. No, it sounds great, man. Josh, man, I appreciate it. You know what I would love to do is get you on the I think Brew Strong.
I have a lot of opinions.
That would be a cool show.
Yeah, cool. Dude, I really love deep dives, and if you gave me something to talk about, I would definitely maybe talk about it.
Yeah, probably, sure, sort of, kind
of.
Well, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, you were more than generous with the beers you gave me. The Treat of Friendship is the best Mikkeller beer I've had. I think you did great.
Yeah, no. That's nice that you like Mikkeller, but tell everyone which was your favorite sake that you had.
I said it was the best Mikkeller beer that I had.
Right. But of the sake that you had, like how do you land? Are you AZ Bay? Are you Little Cloudy? What are you doing? I'm gonna hold you down and beat you up.
You know what? I'm Little Cloudy. I'm Team Little Cloudy.
Team Little Cloudy.
Yeah, for sure.
Sean, you and I should hang out sometime. We'll get dinner. We can talk about beer, and then you can try the sake then. I'll be nice.
I would like to do that.
JP.
I like the way you lulled me into hang out and have dinner.
Maybe we'll kiss. Maybe we'll hug. I don't know. We'll see what the sake makes us do.
We're not going to make babies, so it's safe. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in.
This
I really
great.
appreciate it. SettingSunSake.com. Email Josh. Go to the website, buy the sake kit. You should make it at home. It'll be really cool. And then email us and
email him and email Josh. Ask your questions.
Yeah. Josh at Setting Sun Sake, because I want to help homebrewers. If you have a legitimate question about homebrewing and you want to get it, I'll answer your question per your region and give you suppliers per your region. I don't need you to support me. Also, if you bought my homebrew kit, I will talk you through the whole thing.
Damn. That's nice. You have a lot of time in your hands.
No, I don't. But I want to grow sake as a whole.
Well, I think you're doing a good job, dude.
It's a noble cause.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys later.